This guy has stopped playing his most successful champions, his Twisted Fate and his Katarina. 58% win rate Katarina, 55% win rate Twisted Fate. And you can see he's starting to struggle. He's Plat 2, 500 games. He's got, in his last 60 games, only a 50% win rate. And as we know, we need at least a 55% win rate in order to climb and to prove the MMR system that we are better than the current rank we are. So in today's profile view, we're going to be discussing what exactly you need to do when you're a player who's lost confidence in your champion pool or has decided to switch it up and things aren't going right, but you still want to climb higher. We're going to be breaking down exactly what you need to do. Now, before we get into this profile view, if you want your profile view just like the one where you're about to watch, please check out the link in the YouTube description below. Let's get into the video. Currently, you're Plat 2 with 50% win rate over about 500 games, and your goal is to get to Masters. So it's a very tough to reach goal. Masters is like the top 0.01% of players in your region, but it isn't impossible, but it will be tough. So we're going to be looking at this profile view in the lens of that, but also, looking at your more immediate things that you need to fix in order to get to Masters. Rather than that end goal itself, let's set a goal for, let's get to Diamond first, and then let's get to Diamond 2, D1, and then go for the Masters, because I think that's a much more realistic plan, particularly with the end of the split coming up. So the big three things I'm going to be talking about are your champ pool, your identity, and what you're doing in your mid to late game. And these are the three biggest issues I can see from face value about your profile view that you can improve to start winning more games and to get ideally that overall win rate from 50% to 55%, because that is ideally what you need to be able to even to climb to Diamond by the end of this split. So the first one, champ pool. It looks like you're playing a lot of different champs and it feels just like very confused at the moment, and it kind of highlights or is shown in your recent win rate in your last 60 games where you've got a 50% win rate, because you're just playing all these different champs. We've got Kale, Nautilus, Cassante, Janna, and I get, you're playing support because mid's quite a contested role, so you'd get filled a lot. But I really just don't understand why you stopped playing your Katarina as an example, or your Aurelian Soul, or even your Twisted Fate. Like, it really doesn't make sense to me. In Plat 2, Twisted Fate, because Katarina and Aurelian Soul are all still very playable. They're not coin flip at all. And the fact that you have such good win rates on them, 54%, 58%, 55%, it just makes me very confused as to why you stopped playing them. So I'd be really interested to know why you did that. I assume it's probably because you lost confidence in your ability to play on them, and now you've changed to these other champs, but you're just not having as much success on them. So in my overall recommendation for your champ pool, I would much rather see you go back to your Twisted Fate, your Katarina, and your A-Soul, and even just one tricking, one of those two tricking, or max if, it seems like you might get bored of one tricking, two tricking. Have a champion pool of about 3 champs. I would say if you're trying to climb in the fastest way possible, it's A-Soul, Katarina, Twisted Fate, but I don't know, let's say you're trying to learn Cassante because he's in the meta right now, a lot of pro players are playing him. You could switch one of them out with Cassante, maybe the Aurelian Soul, to give you a bit of champ diversity, comp diversity, etc., but there is no reason you cannot climb with those champions. Climbing in League of Legends never is a champion issue. It's always an individual player issue, aka you don't know how to play that champion, or you don't have confidence on that champion, you just don't have mastery, you don't have enough games on them, or you just don't know how to play them in ranked. It's never actual champion itself, like Twisted Fate cannot be played above Plat 2, or Katarina cannot be played above Plat 2. I can't carry as Katarina in Diamond. It's all false. There's one tricks for every single champion in at least master tier, which means they're all playable at the highest of ranks in League of Legends, which is your ultimate goal. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is your ranked identity, because it just seems like you don't really have one, and that's what I'm trying to fix with your champion pool. You really need to think about what kind of League of Legends player you want to be, because if you want to be someone who starts playing Kale and then switches to Cassante because he's all of a sudden meta and he's getting played in MSI, but you're not actually having that much success on him, like a 53% win rate's okay, but I would define success as anything above 55%, like your Twisted Fate or your Katarina. So I'm just really, really confused about what your identity is and what you're trying to do. It looks like you're trying to figure it out right now, and you're just playing a lot to discover. And what I recommend, if you are struggling to find your identity, or you want to revamp your champion pool from like Twisted Fate, Katarina, Aurelion Sol to something new, I'd recommend getting a second account or using your Smurf account if you have one already, and learning your new champion pool on that account without risking the MMR and your LP gains and becoming hard stuck on your main account. And this is one of the perfect strategies, I say, for anyone who's looking to switch up their champion pool, their ranked identity. They're trying to learn a new role, they're trying to add some new champs to their pool, they're bored of their current champion pool, all these kind of things. That's what I recommend, because you can learn your champions in a really safe environment without affecting your overall main account's MMR that you're trying to get to Masters. Because when League of Legends sees an account that's Plat 2 with 500 games in Platinum, it thinks you're a Platinum player because you've got a 50% win rate overall. You've got a 50% win rate in your last 60 games. So you basically need to prove to the MMR system that you are better than a Plat player, which you aren't right now. And that's probably why you're here for this profile view. Now, the third thing I want to talk about is your deaths and your mid to late game, because it actually looks like you have a very decent early game. I can see overall in mid lane, you average around a 200 goal difference at 15. On TF, it's up at 470. Katarina, it's 560. Cassante, it's 250. And ASOL, it's negative 450. So, you know, I don't really see a problem here. I mean, your ASOL, if you were going to bring him back into your champion pool, you'd really need to fix this, because yes, ASOL is a scaling champion, but it by no means means you should be averaging, you know, negative 450 gold at 15 minutes on a scaling champion. You should be going even, if not a little bit ahead. So again, I think you've got a really strong laning phase, and again, that's why I really like your Twisted Fate, your Katarina, and potentially your Cassante if you're interested in keeping him on your champ pool. I really like those three champs. But when I see really good laning phases like this, where it's like plus 400, etc., and I see an overall win rate of 51%, and I see in your last 60 games 50%, and then I see that you have averaging 7 deaths, it makes me think that you struggle converting your early game leads, your lane leads, into late game leads. And that's something I can't really cover in this profile view, but we can cover through one-on-one coaching, game reviews, you know, talking to each other and figuring out exactly what's going wrong in your gameplay. So I'd recommend, once you've watched this, please reach out to me and we can talk about what a coaching solution would look like for you based on what I think and what I've highlighted in this profile review, but also based on what you think and the things that you want to personally improve and fix, so that we can kind of come together and create an ideal plan for you to go from Plat 2 to Diamond 4, to Diamond 3, Diamond 2, Diamond 1, and eventually to Masters. And maybe that will take 6 months. Maybe that will take 12 months. But if we can do it together, you've got a much higher success rate of doing it. And I've done it before. I've climbed Plat players. I've climbed Diamond players to Masters. Yes, it's tough. Yes, a lot of people don't make it, if I'm honest. Like, it's not, I don't think it's a reflection on my coaching. It's more a reflection on the person. Do they have the willpower? Do they have the dedication? And are they willing to change the things, fix the bad habits, and listen to players who have gotten other players and gotten themselves to that high rank? Are they willing to implement those changes and take on that advice? So please, Joel, I think you've got a lot of potential here. Again, I think you've got a lot of success on your TF, your Cassante, and your Katarina, and I'd really like to see that continued or brought back. But this account is going to really struggle to get to Masters this split, even next split, so it is looking like a long-term climbing plan that you're going to need. Anyway, mate, once you've watched this, please reach out to me and we can talk about what coaching could look like for you. As always, cheers, good luck on the Rift, and I'll talk to you once you've watched this.